Thompson Brown had everything the world said a man could want. A billion-dollar tech empire, a mansion overlooking the ocean, and a reputation built on brilliance and ambition. Yet the one thing he never had, was time. Time to visit. Time to call. Time to be a son. Time to be a father. He had become a man who provided for millions, but somehow failed the two people who needed him most. He had conquered empires of silicon and steel, but on a rain-slick street corner, staring at two figures bent over a dumpster, Thompson Brown discovered the only fortune that ever mattered, and realized he'd already lost it. Thompson Brown's reflection stared back at him from the floor-to-ceiling windows of the Pinnacle Tower, 43 stories above Seattle. The city sprawled beneath him like a circuit board, neat, organized, lit with purpose. His purpose. Brown Tech had reshaped how the world communicated, and tonight, another tech magazine would name him Innovator of the Decade. Again. He adjusted his Tom Ford tie, the silk smooth between his fingers, and tried to remember the last time he'd felt anything smooth about his life. Everything was edges now. Sharp. Cutting. "Mr. Brown, your car is ready." His assistant's voice crackled through the intercom, professional and distant. Everyone in his life was professional and distant. Thompson grabbed his coat, Italian cashmere, tailored to perfection, and headed toward the private elevator. The award ceremony would be the usual parade, handshakes that meant nothing, speeches that said less, champagne that tasted like victory but left him hollow. The elevator descended in silence. 43 floors. He counted every one, the way he used to count his daughter's giggles when he pushed her on the swing set. When was that? 3 years ago. 4. When did I stop counting the things that mattered? His phone buzzed. 18 unread emails. 4 board member texts. 0 messages from family. The town car waited at the curb, engine purring. James, his driver of 7 years, held the door open. "Good evening, Mr. Brown." "Straight to the Fairmont?" Thompson paused, one foot in the car, one still on the pavement. A strange sensation gripped his chest, not pain, but pressure. Like invisible hands squeezing. "Take the long way," he heard himself say. James's eyebrows rose slightly. "Sir." "Just drive. Through downtown. The old neighborhoods." "Of course, sir." Thompson settled into the leather seat and loosened his tie. Through the tinted windows, Seattle transformed from gleaming towers to worn brick facades, from pristine sidewalks to cracked concrete. This was the Seattle he'd grown up in, before Brown Tech, before billions, before he'd learned that success could be the loneliest achievement of all. His mother had lived in this neighborhood once. Probably still did, though he hadn't visited in, how long? 18 months. 2 years. His calendar never seemed to have space for her. Always another meeting, another acquisition, another conference call that couldn't wait. But what was I waiting for? The car slowed at a red light. Thompson gazed out at a corner store, its neon sign flickering open. A young couple emerged, laughing, sharing a bag of chips. Something about their ease, their connection, made his chest tighten further. His phone buzzed again. He ignored it. The light turned green, but James didn't accelerate. "Sir, there's something ahead. Do you want me to take another route?" Thompson leaned forward. "What is it?" "Looks like. I'm not sure. Some people by the alley. Could be trouble. Just wait." The pressure in Thompson's chest intensified. Through the rain beginning to speckle the windshield, he saw them, two figures hunched near a dumpster in the dim glow of a streetlight. One taller, one smaller. Both searching through garbage with the desperate efficiency of hunger. Something made Thompson open his door. "Sir." James's voice carried concern. "The ceremony." "Wait here." Thompson stepped into the rain, his $1,000 shoes splashing in a puddle. The cold November air bit through his coat, but he barely felt it. He moved closer, drawn by something he couldn't name, something that felt like gravity and dread intertwined. The taller figure was bent at an awkward angle, reaching deep into the dumpster. Gray hair, thin shoulders, a coat that had seen better decades. The smaller figure, a child, stood shivering nearby, arms wrapped around herself, her breath visible in the cold air. 10 feet away, Thompson stopped. The woman pulled out a half-eaten sandwich, checked it, and handed it to the child with trembling hands. "Here, sweetheart. It's okay. It's still good." That voice. Thompson's world tilted. He knew that voice. He'd heard it singing lullabies, speaking prayers, telling him to chase his dreams no matter how impossible they seemed. "Mom." The word barely escaped his throat, but she heard it. Her head snapped up, eyes widening in the streetlight's harsh glow. The sandwich fell from her hands. "Thompson." Time collapsed. The rain fell harder. And in that moment, Thompson Brown, billionaire, innovator, titan of industry, saw himself clearly for the first time in years. The child turned around, and Thompson's heart stopped completely. Wide brown eyes. Cheeks hollowed by hunger. Hair that used to bounce in pigtails now tangled and dull. "Daddy." Lily's voice, his daughter's voice, was small and uncertain, as if she wasn't sure he'd remember her. "What would you do if you discovered you'd been chasing success while the people you love were barely surviving?" Drop your thoughts below and also tell us where you are watching from. Thompson couldn't move. His legs had turned to stone, rooted to the wet pavement while rain soaked through his expensive suit. Lily stood there, barely recognizable, his little girl who used to wear princess dresses and demand bedtime stories, now wearing clothes 2 sizes too big, held together with safety pins. Lily. His voice cracked on her name. She took a tentative step toward him, then stopped, as if approaching a stranger. Which, Thompson realized with sickening clarity, was exactly what he'd become. His mother moved between them, her hands raised in a gesture that was half defense, half apology. "Thompson, we didn't want you to see us like this." "See you like this?" Thompson's mind struggled to process the scene. "How long? How long have you been?" He couldn't finish the sentence. The words "living on the streets" wouldn't form. "A few months." His mother's voice was steady, but her hands shook. "After your father passed, the medical bills, and then the house." "I lost the house." "You lost," Thompson felt dizzy. "Dad died?" "When?" "7 months ago." Her eyes filled with tears. "I called Thompson. I called your office 12 times. Your assistant said you were unavailable. That you'd call back when you had time." The ground seemed to shift beneath Thompson's feet. His father was dead. Had been dead for 7 months. And he hadn't known. Hadn't answered. "I hadn't made time." "And Lily?" His eyes moved to his daughter, who was watching him with an expression too old for her 8 years. "Where's Monica? Where's her mother?" His mother's lips pressed into a thin line. "Monica left. About a year ago. Said she couldn't handle being married to someone who was never there. She dropped Lily at my house one afternoon and never came back. I tried to reach you then too." Thompson remembered. Vaguely. Messages he'd meant to return. Calls he'd delegated to his assistant. His mother's name in his voicemail that he told himself he'd get to later, after the merger, after the product launch, after the next big thing that always seemed more urgent than his own family. "I'm sorry." Lily's small voice cut through his thoughts. "I know you're busy. Grandma said you have important work." Something inside Thompson shattered. His daughter was apologizing to him. Standing in the rain, hungry and homeless, and she was apologizing for existing. He crossed the distance between them in 3 strides and dropped to his knees, not caring about the puddles or his ruined pants. He pulled Lily into his arms, and she came reluctantly, her small body stiff with uncertainty. "No, baby. No." Tears streamed down his face, mixing with the rain. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Lily's arms slowly wrapped around his neck. Her fingers clutched the back of his coat, and she started to cry, deep, gulping sobs that shook her entire frame. "I thought you didn't want me anymore," she whispered against his shoulder. "I thought I did something wrong." "Never. You did nothing wrong. This is all on me." Thompson held her tighter, feeling how thin she'd become, how fragile. "I'm here now. I'm here." His mother stood apart, tears running down her weathered face. Thompson reached out one arm, and she came, collapsing into the embrace. The three of them held each other in the rain while cars passed by, their headlights briefly illuminating the scene before moving on, as indifferent as Thompson had been to their suffering. "Why didn't you come to the office?" Thompson finally asked, his voice muffled against his mother's shoulder. "Why didn't you force your way in?" His mother pulled back slightly, her eyes meeting his. "Because you built that tower to keep the world out, Thompson. Including us. And I was too proud. Too ashamed. I didn't want you to see how far we'd fallen. But I had money. I have more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. I know." Her voice was gentle but firm. "But you didn't have time. And we needed you, not your money. We needed our son. Our father." She touched his face, her cold fingers tracing the lines of stress and exhaustion etched there. "Look at you. You're so tired. When did you last sleep? Last time to eat a real meal? Last laugh?" Thompson couldn't answer. He couldn't remember. Lily shivered violently in his arms, her teeth chattering. Thompson stood, lifting her with him. She weighed almost nothing. "James!" Thompson called toward the car. His driver appeared instantly, eyes wide at the scene. "Open the door. All the doors." "Sir. We're going home. All of us." His mother shook her head. "Thompson, you have that ceremony." "I don't care about the ceremony." The words came out fierce, certain. "I don't care about any of it. Not anymore." He carried Lily to the car, his mother following. James held the door, his professional mask slipping to show genuine concern. Thompson settled Lily on the warm leather seat and wrapped her in his coat. His mother climbed in beside her, and Thompson took the seat across from them, unable to look away. "Where to, sir?" James asked quietly. "Home. The penthouse." "And James?" "Call the Fairmont. Tell them I won't be attending tonight. Tell them I won't be attending anything for the foreseeable future." "Yes, sir." As the car pulled away from that corner, Thompson watched through the rear window as the streetlight illuminated the spot where he'd found them. The dumpster they'd been searching through. The alley they'd been surviving in. He'd walked past people like them 1,000 times. I looked through them. Dismissed them as unfortunate statistics in a world that rewarded ambition and punished poverty. He'd never imagined they could be his own family. Lily's head rested against his mother's shoulder, her eyes already closing from exhaustion. His mother stroked her hair with infinite tenderness, humming softly, the same lullaby she'd once hummed to Thompson. "Mom," Thompson said, his voice barely audible. "I failed you. Both of you. I don't know how to make this right." His mother looked at him, and despite everything, there was no anger in her eyes. Only sadness. And something else. Hope, maybe. Or the memory of hope. "You're here now," she said simply. "That's where we start." The car glided through the city, carrying them from the darkness of that alley toward whatever came next. Thompson's phone buzzed relentlessly in his pocket, texts from the ceremony, from board members wondering where he was, from business partners expecting his attention. He pulled it out, looked at the screen filled with urgent messages from people who wanted pieces of him, and then powered it off. For the first time in a decade, the world could wait. His family couldn't. The elevator to Thompson's penthouse climbed silently, each floor marked by a soft chime that seemed too cheerful for the moment. Lily pressed herself against his mother, her eyes darting around the mirrored interior as if she might be asked to leave at any moment. Thompson watched her reflection multiply in the mirrors, his daughter, scared and uncertain in what should have been a space of safety. The doors opened to reveal his home. 12,000 square feet of marble, glass, and carefully curated emptiness. Modern art on walls that had never heard laughter. Furniture positioned for aesthetic, not comfort. A showroom, not a home. Lily's grip on her grandmother's hand tightened. "It's okay, sweetheart," Thompson's mother murmured, but her own eyes widened as she took in the space. This was the life her son had built while she lost everything. The contrast wasn't lost on either of them. Thompson led them inside, suddenly seeing his penthouse through their eyes. The coldness of it. The sterility. He'd paid a designer $300,000 to make it look like a spread in Architectural Digest, and she'd succeeded. It looked perfect. It felt like nothing. "I'll run a bath," Thompson said, his voice echoing in the vast space. "And get you both some warm clothes. There's food in the kitchen." "Thompson." His mother's voice stopped him. "When was the last time you used your kitchen?" He opened his mouth, then closed it. His chef came twice a week to stock prepared meals. He couldn't remember the last time he'd actually cooked anything. "I'll figure it out," he said firmly. "Lily, come with me. Let's get you warm." Lily followed him down the hall, her footsteps silent on the heated marble floors. Thompson led her to one of the guest bathrooms, all travertine and rainfall showers and towels that cost more than most people's monthly rent. He started the bath, testing the water temperature multiple times. Lily stood in the doorway, watching him with those two old eyes. "Daddy?" Her voice was small. "Are we really staying here?" Thompson's hand stilled on the faucet. He turned to face her, kneeling so they were eye level. "Yes, baby. You're really staying here. This is your home now. What about tomorrow? Will you still want us tomorrow?" The question pierced him. How many nights had she spent wondering if she'd be wanted? How many times had she been left behind? "I will want you tomorrow," and the next day, and every day after that. He reached for her hand, noting the dirt under her fingernails, the bruises on her knuckles. I know I haven't been there. I know I broke promises. But that ends now. I promise you, Lily, and I will never break this promise, you will never be alone again. Lily studied his face, searching for lies the way a child learns to when adults have disappointed her too many times. Finally, she nodded. Okay, Daddy. Thompson helped her undress, his heart breaking at every revelation. Her ribs showed through her skin. Bruises mottled her arms and legs, some from falling, he guessed, others from sleeping on concrete. Her feet were blistered and raw. He lowered her gently into the warm water, and Lily gasped. Too hot. No. Her eyes filled with tears. It feels good. I forgot what warm feels like. Thompson sat on the floor beside the tub, unable to speak past the lump in his throat. He'd been sitting in boardrooms, making billion-dollar decisions, while his daughter forgot what warmth felt like. He washed her hair carefully, working out the tangles as gently as he could. Lily sat quietly, occasionally wincing but never complaining. The water turned gray with dirt. Tell me about school, Thompson said, trying to keep his voice steady. What grade are you in now? Lily was quiet for a moment. I'm not in school. What do you mean? Grandma couldn't enroll me. We didn't have an address. And I didn't have my records from my old school. Mom took them when she left. 3rd grade. Lily should be in 3rd grade, learning multiplication and reading chapter books. Instead, she'd been surviving on the streets. We'll fix that, Thompson said. First thing Monday, we'll get you enrolled. The best school in Seattle. I'm probably behind, Lily said quietly. I can't remember a lot of stuff I used to know. Then we'll work on it together. We'll catch you up. Thompson rinsed her hair, watching the water run clear finally. Do you remember when you were little, and I used to read to you every night? Lily's face lit up slightly. The dragon stories. The dragon stories. Thompson smiled through his tears. We'll start those again. Tonight, if you want. Really? Really? He wrapped her in a towel, plush and warm from the heated rack, and carried her to his bedroom. It was the only room with clothes that might work temporarily. He found a soft t-shirt that hung to her knees like a dress and a pair of his socks that went up to her thighs. There, he said, stepping back. Now you look like a princess who conquered a giant's closet. Lily smiled. Actually smiled. It was tentative and small, but it was real. Thompson left her to settle while he checked on his mother. He found her standing in the living room, staring out at the city light stretching to the horizon. Mom. She turned, and he saw she'd been crying. Your father would be so proud of you right now. proud?" Thompson's voice was bitter. "I let you starve. I let you live on the streets. You came back." His mother crossed to him, taking his hands in hers. They were rough, calloused from work and survival. "That's what matters, Thompson. You came back. Not everyone does. How can you forgive me so easily?" "Because you're my son. Because I know the world you built pulled you away piece by piece, and you didn't even notice until it was too late. Because I see you now, really see you, and I know you're going to make this right." Thompson pulled her into another embrace. "I don't know how to be the son you need. The father Lily needs. I've forgotten how to be anything except the CEO." "Then we'll remember together," his mother said. "Now, show me that fancy kitchen of yours. I'm going to make my grandson an actual meal, even if I have to figure out whatever space-age appliances you have in there." Thompson laughed, a real laugh, surprising himself. "Some of them, I'm not sure how they work either." They walked to the kitchen together, and Thompson started opening cabinets, revealing refrigerators hidden in panels, a stove that looked like a spaceship control panel, drawers he'd never opened. His mother shook her head in amazement. "You have 3 ovens and probably can't cook an egg." "Guilty." "Well, you're about to learn. Where's your pasta?" An hour later, the penthouse smelled like his childhood, garlic and tomatoes and the indefinable scent of home cooking. Lily emerged from the bedroom wearing Thompson's t-shirt, drawn by the smell. They sat at the massive dining table that Thompson had never used for an actual meal, and his mother served pasta with butter and garlic. Simple. Perfect. Lily ate slowly at first, as if afraid the food might disappear. Then faster, hunger winning over manners. Thompson and his mother watched her, saying nothing, just grateful to see her eat. When she finished, Lily looked up. "Can I have more?" "You can have as much as you want," Thompson said. "Always." After dinner, Thompson carried Lily to one of the guest rooms, the one with the softest bed and the view of the Space Needle. He tucked her in, surrounded by pillows and blankets, and sat on the edge of the bed. "The dragon story?" Lily asked hopefully. Thompson didn't have the book anymore, he'd left it behind in some move, in some purge of his old life. But he remembered the story. He'd read it so many times he could recite it from memory. "Once upon a time," he began, "there was a dragon who forgot how to fly." Lily's eyes grew heavy as he spoke, her hand finding his and holding tight. By the time the dragon remembered his wings, she was asleep. Thompson sat there, watching her breathe, feeling the weight of her small hand in his. This was what he'd been missing. This was what all his success had cost him. He found his mother in the living room, curled up on the couch with a blanket. She looked smaller somehow, diminished by months of hardship. "Take my room, Mom," Thompson said. "The master bedroom." It's yours. Thompson, I can't. Please. His voice broke. Let me give you something. Let me take care of you the way you took care of me all those years. She studied his face, then nodded. Okay. But tomorrow, we will talk. Really talk. About what comes next. Tomorrow, Thompson agreed. He walked her to the master suite, showed her how to work the shower and the lights, and said good night. Then he returned to Lily's room and settled into the chair beside her bed. He wouldn't sleep tonight. He couldn't. He needed to watch over her, to make sure she was real, to prove to himself and to her that he wasn't going anywhere. His phone, still powered off, sat on the dresser. Beyond the windows, Seattle glittered with the lights of 1,000 other lives, 1,000 other stories. Tomorrow, his absence from the ceremony would be news. His board would demand answers. His calendar would implode. Tomorrow, he will deal with all of it. Tonight, he was exactly where he needed to be. Home. Morning light filtered through the floor-to-ceiling windows, painting the penthouse in shades of gold and amber. Thompson hadn't slept. He'd spent the night alternating between watching Lily sleep and pacing the length of his living room, trying to process how his life had fractured so completely without him noticing. Around 6 a.m., he heard movement in the kitchen. His mother, already awake, navigating the complicated coffee machine with determination. "Let me," Thompson said, joining her. "I've got it." She pressed buttons until the machine hissed to life. See? Old dogs, new tricks. They stood side by side, waiting for the coffee to brew. The silence between them waited with everything unsaid. "You stayed up all night," his mother observed. It wasn't a question. "I was afraid if I closed my eyes, I'd wake up and you'd both be gone. That it was all a dream. Or a nightmare, depending on how you look at it." She poured 2 cups, added cream to hers the way she always had. Some things didn't change, even when everything else did. "We need to talk, Thompson. Really talk." They moved to the living room, settling on opposite ends of the couch. The city was waking up below them, early commuters, delivery trucks, the machinery of daily life grinding forward. Thompson's life, by contrast, felt suspended. "How bad was it?" he asked. "Tell me everything." His mother wrapped both hands around her coffee cup. "Your father got sick 2 years ago. Pancreatic cancer. We didn't tell you because you were in the middle of that merger with the Japanese firm. You'd talked about it for months, how critical it was. We didn't want to distract you." Thompson closed his eyes. "Dad was dying, and you didn't want to distract me." "He didn't want to distract you," she corrected gently. "He was so proud of you, Thompson. He'd show everyone articles about Brown Tech, about your innovations. He'd say, 'That's my son. He's changing the world.' Even when he could barely speak at the end, he'd smile when your name came on the news. I should have been there. Yes, his mother agreed, and the simple honesty of it hurt more than any accusation could. You should have. But you weren't, and we dealt with it. The treatments were expensive. Experimental. Insurance covered some, but not enough. We took out a second mortgage on the house. You should have told me. I could have written a check. His mother's voice was sharp. We didn't need your money, Thompson. We needed you. There's a difference. Thompson set down his coffee cup, his hands shaking. Keep going. He died on a Tuesday. March 17th. St. Patrick's Day. He always loved that holiday. Her voice wavered but held. I called your office. Your assistant, what's her name? Jennifer. She said you were in Singapore for a conference. That you'd call back within 24 hours. I never did. No. You didn't. His mother took a breath. I buried him alone, Thompson. His funeral was me, 3 of his old co-workers from the factory, and Father Michael from the church. That was it. His only son was halfway around the world, too busy to say goodbye. The words landed like physical blows. Thompson remembered that Singapore trip, a tech summit where he'd given the keynote address to 5,000 people about connectivity and bringing the world closer together. While his father was being lowered into the ground alone. After he died, the bills came. Medical debt, mortgage, credit cards we'd maxed out for his care. I tried to keep up, but on my pension. She shook her head. The bank foreclosed 4 months later. I had a week to get out. Where did you go? First, to a women's shelter. They let me stay for 30 days. Then I found a room in a boarding house, but the landlord wanted first and last month's rent plus deposit. I didn't have it. I slept in my car for a while, but then it broke down, and I couldn't afford to fix it. Thompson's throat constricted. His mother, who had raised him, sacrificed for him, believed in him when no one else did, slept in a car. When did Monica bring Lily? About 6 months ago. Just showed up one afternoon with Lily and 3 garbage bags of clothes. Said she'd met someone new, someone who didn't want kids. Asked if I could watch Lily for a few weeks while she figured things out. His mother's jaw tightened. I never heard from her again. And you tried to reach me? Constantly. But your assistant always had the same answer, you were unavailable. In a meeting. On a call. Out of the country. She'd take a message. You'd get back to me when you had time. His mother looked at him directly. You never had time. Thompson stood abruptly, unable to sit still any longer. He walked to the window, pressing his forehead against the cool glass. I don't remember any messages. Jennifer probably filtered them. Isn't that her job? To protect your time, keep distractions away. And there it was. He'd trained his entire staff to insulate him from anything that wasn't business critical. He'd built walls so high and thick that his own family couldn't scale them. So you ended up on the streets. Not immediately. I tried to keep Lily in school, keep us in the shelters, but they have time limits. And Lily. His mother's voice softened. She was so sad, Thompson. She'd ask every day when her mommy was coming back. When her daddy would call. I didn't know what to tell her. So you told her I was busy. That I had important work. What else could I say? That you'd forgotten about us. That you'd built a life that didn't have room for your own daughter. His mother stood too, joining him at the window. I didn't want her to hate you. So yes, I made excuses. But they wore thin after a while. Below them, Thompson could see people hurrying along sidewalks, clutching coffee cups, checking phones. He'd been one of them once, so focused on the destination that he'd stopped noticing the journey. So consumed by building his empire that he'd neglected his kingdom. When I saw you last night, Thompson said quietly, searching through that dumpster. I didn't recognize you at first. My own mother, and I didn't recognize you. We've both changed. His mother touched his reflection in the glass. You look older, Thompson. Tired. When did you get so much gray in your hair? He hadn't noticed. He hadn't noticed a lot of things. What do we do now? He asked. That depends on you. His mother turned to face him directly. You can write us a check, set us up in an apartment somewhere, go back to your life. Or you can actually change. Actually be present. Actually be the son and father we need. I want to change. I want to be here. Wanting isn't enough. You've wanted to call me back for years, I'm sure. You've wanted to see Lily. But wanting doesn't answer phones or show up to school plays or sit beside a hospital bed. Her voice was firm but not cruel. If you're going to do this, Thompson, you have to commit. Fully. Not just when it's convenient. I will. I am. He gripped her shoulders. Mom, I'm stepping down as CEO. Her eyes widened. What? I made the decision last night. Brown Tech doesn't need me. The company practically runs itself at this point. But you and Lily, you need me. And I need you. More than I need any of it. Thompson, that's your life's work. No. He shook his head firmly. You're my life's work. Lily is my life's work. Brown Tech is it's just a company. It'll survive without me. But I won't survive without you. His mother's eyes filled with tears. You mean that? Every word. Thompson pulled her into an embrace. I can't fix what I've done. I can't bring Dad back or erase the months you suffered. But I can be here now. I can try to be the person you raised me to be. They stood there, holding each other as the sun climbed higher, as the city below fully woke, as everything Thompson had known began to shift into something new. A small voice interrupted them. Grandma? Daddy? They turned to find Lily standing in the hallway, still wearing Thompson's t-shirt, her hair tangled from sleep. She looked uncertain, as if she half expected to find them gone. We're here, sweetheart, Thompson's mother said, opening her arms. Lily ran to them, and they pulled her into the embrace, the three of them forming a circle. A family. Fractured and hurting, but together. Are you really staying, Daddy? Lily whispered against his chest. Thompson knelt down, taking her face gently in his hands. I'm really staying. And Lily, I need to tell you something important. She nodded, waiting. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for not being there. For missing birthdays and holidays and all the little moments that matter. I thought I was building something important, but I forgot the most important thing, you. You and Grandma. That was wrong, and I can't take it back. But I promise you, from this moment forward, you will never doubt whether I love you. You will never wonder if you matter to me. Because you are the most important thing in my world. Do you understand? Lily's bottom lip trembled. Do you promise? I promise. And I'm going to prove it to you every single day. She threw her arms around his neck, and Thompson held her, feeling her heart beat against his chest. This was what success felt like. Not the awards or the accolades or the billions in the bank. This. Now, Thompson said, standing with Lily in his arms, how about we make some breakfast? A real breakfast, not whatever fancy prepared stuff is in that refrigerator. Do you know how to cook breakfast? Lily asked skeptically. Not really, Thompson admitted. But Grandma does, and she's going to teach us. Both of us. His mother smiled, a real smile, the kind he remembered from childhood. Well then, let's see what we can do with that spaceship kitchen of yours. They moved together toward the kitchen, and for the first time in years, Thompson's penthouse felt like more than just a showpiece. It felt like home. By Monday morning, Thompson's absence from the awards ceremony had become headline news. His phone, which he'd finally powered back on, exploded with notifications. 73 missed calls. 216 text messages. His inbox showed 847 unread emails, most marked urgent. Jennifer, his assistant, had called 19 times. The board chair, 11. His PR team, 15. Thompson sat at his dining table with Lily, who was working through a coloring book they'd bought during a weekend shopping trip. His mother was in the kitchen, humming while she prepared lunch. The penthouse had transformed over 3 days, toys scattered across the pristine floors, crayons on the marble countertop, the smell of home-cooked meals replacing the antiseptic emptiness. His phone buzzed again. "Jennifer." He answered. "Mr. Brown." "Thank God. I've been trying to reach you for 3 days. The board is in an uproar. The press is demanding a statement. Everyone wants to know. Jennifer, I need you to schedule an emergency board meeting for this afternoon. 2 o'clock. Silence. Then, carefully, "Sir, are you well? There have been rumors." "I'm fine. Better than I've been in years, actually." Thompson watched Lily carefully color inside the lines of a butterfly. "But I have an announcement to make, and the board needs to hear it first." "Of course. I'll arrange it immediately. Should I prepare talking points?" "The PR team has drafted several statements about your absence." "No statements yet. Just the meeting." "Yes, sir." "Mr. Brown, is everything really all right?" Thompson smiled, surprising himself. "For the first time in a long time, Jennifer, everything is exactly as it should be." After he hung up, his mother appeared with sandwiches. "So you're really doing this?" "I'm really doing this. The board won't be happy." "The board has never been happy. That's why they're on the board." Thompson took a bite of his sandwich, simple turkey and cheese, better than any catered meal he'd had in months. "They'll find a new CEO. Probably promote Richard from operations. He's been angling for my job for years anyway." Lily looked up from her coloring. "What's a CEO?" "It's someone who runs a company," Thompson explained. "Someone who makes big decisions and goes to lots of meetings." "Is it fun?" Thompson considered the question. "I thought it was. But it's not as fun as this." He tapped her coloring book. "Tell me about your butterfly." "It's a monarch," Lily said seriously. "They migrate thousands of miles. Grandma told me about them. They're brave." "Very brave," Thompson agreed, meeting his mother's eyes over Lily's head. At 1 o'clock, Thompson's driver arrived. He'd called James personally that morning, and the man had been almost embarrassingly grateful to hear from him. "I'll be back in a few hours," Thompson told his mother. "There's food in the fridge, and I programmed my number into the house phone. Call if you need anything. We'll be fine." His mother squeezed his hand. "Go do what you need to do." Lily looked up, anxiety flashing across her face. "You're coming back, right?" Thompson knelt beside her chair. "I promise. I'll be back before dinner." In fact, he checked his watch. The meeting should be done by 4. What if we went out for ice cream after? Just the 3 of us. Lily's face lit up. Really? Really? So you and Grandma pick a place, and we'll go when I get home. The word home felt foreign on his tongue, but also right. This penthouse was no longer just where he slept between obligations. It was home because they were in it. The drive to Brown Tech headquarters was surreal. Thompson had made this trip thousands of times, but today the familiar route felt like a journey to another life. The tower rose above Seattle's skyline, 43 floors of glass and steel, his monument to ambition. Jennifer met him at the executive elevator, tablet in hand, efficiency personified. The board is assembled in the main conference room. I've prepared. Thank you, Jennifer, but I won't need materials today. She blinked. Sir. I know what I need to say. The conference room occupied the entire northwest corner of the 43rd floor. 12 board members sat around the table, captains of industry, venture capitalists, tech visionaries. People who'd helped Thompson build Brown Tech from a startup into an empire. They looked up as he entered, their expressions ranging from concerned to irritated to coldly analytical. Richard Chen, the COO, spoke first. Thompson. We're glad you're all right. When you missed the ceremony, we were worried. I need to resign as CEO, effective immediately. The words dropped into the room like stones into still water. Silence rippled outward. I'm sorry, what? Richard leaned forward. Did you just say? I'm resigning as CEO of Brown Tech. Thompson remained standing, his hands clasped behind his back. Military posture, his father used to call it. Stand tall when delivering difficult news. I'll remain on the board in an advisory capacity, but day-to-day operations need to be someone else's responsibility. Helen Rodriguez, the board chair, removed her glasses slowly. Thompson, sit down. Let's discuss this rationally. There's nothing irrational about it. I've given this company 15 years of my life. I've built it into something remarkable. But I've also sacrificed things I can never get back, and I'm done sacrificing. This is about your family, isn't it? Richard's voice carried an edge. Jennifer mentioned you had personal matters to attend to. My family was living on the streets, Richard. My mother and my 8-year-old daughter were eating from dumpsters while I was winning innovator awards and closing billion-dollar deals. Thompson's voice remained steady, but the words carried weight. I found them 3 nights ago, purely by accident. If my driver hadn't taken a different route, I might never have known. The room went silent. A few board members shifted uncomfortably. Thompson, Helen said carefully, that's tragic, truly. But stepping down as CEO? There are other solutions. We could arrange care for your family, provide resources. They don't need resources. They need me. Actually me. Present. Engaged. Not writing checks from a distance or delegating their care to staff. You're emotional right now, Richard said. Understandably so. But let's table this discussion for a few weeks, give you time to process. I'm not emotional. I'm clear-headed for the first time in years. Thompson placed both hands on the table, leaning forward. I've spent 15 years chasing growth, market share, innovation. I've sacrificed sleep, health, relationships, everything, for this company. And you know what? The company will be fine without me. Better, probably. But my family won't be. My daughter won't have another childhood. My mother won't get any more years with her son. Brown Tech is your legacy, Helen argued. You built this from nothing. You can't just walk away. My legacy isn't a company. My legacy is whether my daughter remembers having a father who was there for her. Whether my mother's last years are filled with dignity and love, not poverty and abandonment. Thompson straightened. I'm not walking away from Brown Tech entirely. I'll remain on the board, provide strategic guidance, and attend quarterly meetings. But the 80-hour weeks, the constant travel, being available 24/7, that ends now. Richard exchanged glances with several other board members. Thompson could see the calculations happening, who would step up, how this would affect stock prices, what this meant for pending deals. If you're determined to do this, Richard said slowly, I assume you have a succession plan in mind. You, Richard. You've been ready for this job for 3 years. The board knows it. I know it. You'll do well. Richard tried to hide his satisfaction, but Thompson caught the glimmer. He felt no resentment. Richard would be a capable CEO. Maybe even better than Thompson had been, precisely because he wanted it more. We'll need to handle this carefully, Helen said, shifting into crisis management mode. Public statement, press conference, reassure investors. I'll do a press conference tomorrow, Thompson agreed. But the statement will be honest. I'm not hiding behind euphemisms about pursuing other interests or spending time with family. I'm going to tell the truth about what happened. Thompson, the optics. The optics will be exactly what they should be. A man who built a company at the expense of his family, realized what he'd done, and chose to make it right. Thompson looked around the table. If that hurts the stock price temporarily, so be it. But I think people will understand. Some of them might even see themselves in my story. When was the last time you chose what truly mattered over what seemed urgent? Sometimes the most successful thing we can do is know when to step back. What do you think? Share your thoughts below. Helen sighed. You're really doing this. I really am. The meeting continued for another hour, covering logistics, transition plans, legal requirements. Thompson participated but felt strangely detached, as if he were watching someone else navigate his exit from a life he no longer wanted. By the time he left the building, it was 3:45. Still time for ice cream. James was waiting with the car. "How did it go, sir?" "I'm no longer CEO of Brown Tech." James's eyes widened in the rearview mirror. "Sir, It's good news, James. Trust me. Now, do you know any good ice cream places? My daughter is waiting for me, and I promised her a celebration." James smiled, a genuine smile, not his professional driver mask. "There's a place in Fremont. Small, family-owned. Best butter pecan in the city. Perfect. Let's go home first and pick up my family." When Thompson walked through the penthouse door, Lily jumped up from the couch where she'd been watching for him. "Daddy! You came back. I promised, didn't I?" He swept her up, spinning her around. "Now, are you ready for ice cream?" "Yes. Grandma said we could get 2 scoops. 2 scoops minimum," Thompson agreed, setting her down. "Go get your shoes on." His mother appeared from the kitchen, studying his face. "How did it go?" "It's done. I'm officially stepping down." Thompson felt lighter saying it aloud. "Richard will take over as CEO. I'll stay on board but nothing more. How do you feel?" Thompson considered the question. How did he feel? Not regretful. Not anxious. Not the constant low-grade dread that had become his baseline for years. "Relieved," he said finally. "I feel relieved." His mother hugged him. "Your father would be proud. Not of the company or the money. Of this. If you choose a family. I wish I'd chosen it sooner." "So do I. But you chose it now, and that matters." Lily returned wearing new sneakers, pink with light-up soles that she'd picked out during their weekend shopping trip. She clicked them on and off repeatedly, delighted by the flashing lights. "Look, Daddy. They light up." "I see that. Very impressive." They took the elevator down together, and Thompson held both their hands as they walked to the waiting car. The afternoon sun was warm, the city bustling with life. Thompson had walked these streets thousands of times, always hurrying, always late for something supposedly important. Today, he wasn't hurrying. Today, he had nowhere more important to be than right here. At the ice cream shop in Fremont, Lily pressed her face against the display case, overwhelmed by choices. Thompson and his mother stood on either side of her, pointing out flavors, helping her decide. "What about the birthday cake one?" his mother suggested. "Or the cookie dough?" Thompson added. Lily's face scrunched in concentration. "Can I get 1 scoop of each?" "You can get whatever you want," Thompson said. They sat outside at a small table, ice cream melting in the afternoon sun. Lily talked non-stop about everything and nothing, the birds she'd seen from the penthouse window, the cartoon she'd watched that morning, the butterfly she'd colored. Thompson listened to every word, committing it to memory. These were the moments he'd missed. These simple, ordinary, priceless moments. His phone buzzed. The press release about his resignation. Texts from colleagues, some supportive, some confused, some subtly judgmental. Thompson silenced his phone and slipped it into his pocket. "Everything okay?" his mother asked. "Everything's perfect," Thompson said. And for the first time in years, he meant it. The press conference was scheduled for 10 a.m. Tuesday morning. Thompson woke early, before sunrise, and found his mother already in the kitchen, preparing breakfast. "Couldn't sleep either?" he asked. "Old habits." She cracked eggs into a bowl. "Are you nervous about today?" Surprisingly, no. Thompson poured himself coffee. "I know what I need to say. The rest doesn't matter. People will judge you. Let them. I've been judged my whole career, for being too aggressive, too soft, too innovative, too conservative. Today they can judge me for choosing my family. I'll wear that criticism proudly." Lily shuffled into the kitchen, rubbing her eyes. Her hair stuck up in all directions, and she was clutching a stuffed elephant they'd bought over the weekend. Thompson had let her pick anything from the toy store, and she'd chosen the plainest, simplest stuffed animal there, as if afraid to ask for too much. "Morning, baby," Thompson said, lifting her onto his lap. "Want some scrambled eggs?" She nodded against his chest, still half asleep. Thompson held her, breathing in the scent of the children's shampoo they'd bought. These small morning moments, he'd missed thousands of them. But he wouldn't miss any more. After breakfast, while his mother helped Lily get dressed, Thompson stood in front of his closet. Rows of designer suits stared back at him, armor he'd worn to boardrooms and negotiations. Today, he chose a simple navy suit, no tie. He wanted to look like himself, not the polished CEO persona he'd cultivated. The press conference was being held at Brown Tech headquarters, in the main auditorium that seated 300. Jennifer had warned him it would be packed: technology journalists, business reporters, financial analysts, and the inevitable bloggers looking for controversial angles. "You don't have to do this," Jennifer said when he arrived at the building. She looked stressed, her usually perfect composure cracking. "We could issue a written statement. The board would prefer." "The board will survive being uncomfortable for an hour," Thompson said gently. "Jennifer, I know this isn't standard protocol. But it's the right thing to do." She studied him for a moment. "You're different." "I hope so." The auditorium was indeed packed. Thompson stood backstage, listening to the murmur of hundreds of conversations, the click of cameras being set up. In his pocket, his phone buzzed continuously, texts from colleagues offering support, warnings, advice. He ignored them all. At exactly 10 a.m., Helen Rodriguez took the podium to introduce him. She kept it brief and professional, announcing his resignation and Richard's promotion to CEO. Her tone was carefully neutral, but Thompson caught the tension in her shoulders. Then it was his turn. Thompson walked onto the stage, and the cameras erupted in a storm of flashes. He stood at the podium, looking out at the sea of faces, journalists he'd known for years, analysts who tracked his every move, competitors who tried to predict his strategies. "Thank you for coming," he began. His voice echoed through the auditorium, steady and clear. "I'm sure you have questions about my resignation, and I intend to answer them honestly. But first, I need to tell you a story." The room quieted. Journalists leaned forward, pens poised. "3 nights ago, I was leaving an awards ceremony. Another gala, another trophy, another evening celebrating success measured in revenue and market share. My driver took a different route home than usual, and at a red light, I looked out the window." Thompson paused, gathering himself. Even now, the memory seized his chest. "I saw 2 people searching through a dumpster for food. One was an older woman. The other was a child, maybe 7 or 8 years old. And I recognized them. They were my mother and my daughter." A collective gasp rippled through the auditorium. Cameras clicked furiously. "My family was living on the streets while I lived 43 floors above the city. My mother was searching for scraps while I attended galas. My daughter was going hungry while I closed billion-dollar deals." Thompson's voice remained steady, but his hands gripped the podium. "I had become so consumed with building an empire that I failed to notice my own family falling through the cracks." Someone in the audience called out, "Where was your wife? Your daughter's mother?" "She left. About a year ago. She dropped our daughter at my mother's house and disappeared. I didn't know because I was too busy to return phone calls from my family. Too important. Too unavailable." Thompson let the words hang in the air. "My father died 7 months ago. I didn't attend his funeral. I didn't even know he'd passed until 3 days ago. Do you want to know why?" The room was silent. "Because my assistant filtered out non-business calls. Because I'd trained everyone around me to protect my time, to eliminate distractions. My family became a distraction. And by the time I realized what I'd lost, I'd nearly lost everything that actually mattered." A reporter stood. "Mr. Brown, many successful executives balance career and family. Why couldn't you?" "Because I didn't try to balance. I chose it. Every day, with every decision, I chose work over family. I chose meetings over phone calls, conferences over school plays, acquisitions over birthdays." Thompson looked directly at the camera. "I'm not here to make excuses or blame the demands of running a company. This was my choice. My failure. And I'm standing here today to take responsibility for it." Another voice: what message does this send to other CEOs? That family obligations should override business responsibilities. Yes. Exactly that. Thompson's answer was immediate. If your business success requires sacrificing your family, you're not successful, you're failing at what matters most. I built a billion-dollar company, but I couldn't tell you my daughter's favorite color. I employed thousands of people, but I let my own mother go hungry. That's not success. That's a catastrophic failure of priorities. Some would say you're being too hard on yourself, a journalist from the tech sector called out. Brown Tech has created jobs, advanced technology, changed how people communicate. And none of that means anything if the people who matter most are suffering while you chase achievements. Thompson cut in. Technology should bring us closer together, not tear families apart. I preached connectivity while disconnecting from my own family. The hypocrisy is staggering. What do you say to shareholders concerned about stock prices? I say that if my resignation causes stock prices to drop, that's a price worth paying. Richard Chen is an excellent leader who will take Brown Tech to new heights. The company doesn't need me. But my daughter does. My mother does. And for the first time in years, I'm going to be there for them. The questions continued for another 30 minutes. Some reporters were sympathetic, others skeptical, a few openly hostile. Thompson answered them all with the same unflinching honesty. Finally, Helen stepped forward. We'll take one more question. A young woman in the back raised her hand. Mr. Brown, what happens now? After you leave Brown Tech, what will you do? Thompson smiled. I'm going to learn how to be a father. I'm going to take care of my mother. I'm going to read bedtime stories and make breakfast and show up for all the small, ordinary moments I've missed. And, he paused. I'm going to start a foundation. This was the part he hadn't discussed with the board. Helen's head snapped toward him. A foundation to support struggling families, particularly single parents and abandoned seniors. To provide not just financial assistance, but resources, housing, job training, childcare. Everything my family needed and couldn't access. Thompson's voice grew stronger. I'm pledging $1 billion to establish the foundation, and I'm going to work with it directly. Not as a figurehead, but as someone who understands what it means to fall through the cracks. The room erupted. Journalists shouted questions over each other. Cameras flashed like lightning. Helen looked stunned. Thompson held up his hand. That's all for today. Thank you. He walked off stage, leaving chaos in his wake. Backstage, Helen grabbed his arm. $1 billion. Thompson, the board. It's my money, Helen. My shares, my dividends. The board has no say in how I spend my personal wealth. A foundation is a massive undertaking. The logistics alone. Then I'll hire people who know logistics. I'll learn. I'll figure it out. Thompson pulled out his phone and texted James, "Coming down now. Ready to go home." Home. The word still felt new, but increasingly right. Jennifer appeared, looking shell-shocked. "Sir, your phone is exploding. Every news outlet wants follow-up interviews. Social media is." "Jennifer, I need you to do something for me." "Of course." "Stop calling me sir. My name is Thompson." She blinked. Yes, sir. I mean, Thompson. And if you're willing, I'd like you to consider coming to work for the foundation. You're brilliant at organization and logistics. We'll need someone who can navigate bureaucracy and get things done. Jennifer's professional mask slipped, revealing genuine surprise. "You want me to leave Brown Tech? I want you to help me build something that actually matters. But think about it. No pressure." On the drive home, Thompson checked his phone. The press conference was trending on every platform. #BrownTech resignation. #Billionaire founds charity. #CEO chooses family. The responses were mixed. Some praised his honesty and courage. Others accused him of virtue signaling or attention-seeking. A few suggested he was having a breakdown. Thompson didn't care. He'd spoken his truth. What others made of it was their business. When he walked into the penthouse, Lily was sitting on the floor, building something with blocks. She looked up, her face brightening. "Daddy. You're home. I promised I would be, didn't I?" Thompson set down his phone and joined her on the floor. "What are you building?" "A house. For us." She placed another block carefully. "See? That's your room, and that's Grandma's room, and that's my room. We're all together." Thompson's throat tightened. "It's perfect." His mother emerged from the kitchen, wiping her hands on a dish towel. "How did it go?" "I told the truth. Announced my resignation, explained why. And," he paused. "I'm starting a foundation. $1 billion to help families like ours." His mother's eyes widened. "Thompson. It's the right thing to do, Mom. We can't be the only family that fell apart while someone chased success. If I can use my resources to help even a few people avoid what you went through." He shook his head. "It's the least I can do." She crossed to him, cupping his face in her hands. "Your father would be so proud. I wish I'd figured this out before he died. So he could have seen it." "He sees it," she said softly. "And he's proud. I'm sure of it." That evening, they had dinner together, pasta again, because Lily had requested it. Afterward, Thompson read to her from a new book about dragons and princesses. She fell asleep against his shoulder, her breathing slow and steady. Thompson carried her to bed, tucked her in, and sat in the chair beside her for a long time, just watching her sleep. This was peace. This was the purpose. This was what success actually looked like. His phone buzzed one more time. A text from Jennifer, "I'm in. When do we start with the foundation?" Thompson smiled and texted back, "Monday. We have a lot of work to do." Then he powered off his phone, left Lily's room, and went to sit with his mother in the living room. They talked late into the night, about his father, about the past, about plans for the foundation, about healing. Outside, the city lights glittered, indifferent to the drama of individual lives. But inside the penthouse, 3 people who'd been scattered and broken were slowly becoming whole. And for Thompson Brown, that was worth more than any empire. 6 weeks later, the penthouse had transformed completely. Gone were the sterile, museum-like qualities that had once defined it. Now, Lily's artwork covered the refrigerator, crayon drawings of families holding hands, rainbows, and butterflies. A reading corner had been established by the windows, complete with bean bags and overflowing bookshelves. The formal dining table that Thompson had never used now bore the evidence of daily life, homework assignments, craft projects, his mother's knitting basket. Thompson sat at that table now, surrounded by paperwork for the foundation. Jennifer, who had officially resigned from Brown Tech and joined him, had organized everything into color-coded folders. Applications from families needing assistance, proposals from social workers, architectural plans for a housing facility they were developing. "The board for the foundation wants to meet next Tuesday," Jennifer said, marking her tablet. "And we have site visits scheduled for 3 potential locations for the Family Resource Center." "Good. What about staffing?" "We have interviews lined up for next week. Social workers, case managers, administrative staff." The response has been overwhelming. Jennifer looked up, and Thompson saw something in her expression he'd never noticed during her years as his assistant, genuine passion. "Thompson, the stories we're receiving. There are so many families struggling. People who work full-time jobs but can't afford rent. Single parents choosing between medicine and food. Seniors living in their cars. We'll help as many as we can." Thompson made a note on one of the applications. "Start with the families in the most critical situations. Emergency housing first, then longer-term solutions." Lily appeared in the doorway, still in her school uniform. She'd been enrolled at a private school nearby, small class sizes, trauma-informed teachers, therapists on staff. The first week had been difficult. She'd had panic attacks, convinced Thompson wouldn't pick her up. But he'd been there every single day, 3 o'clock sharp, waiting outside the school entrance. "How was school, sweetheart?" Thompson asked, pushing aside the paperwork. "Good. We learned about fractions." She climbed into his lap, something she did multiple times a day, as if reassuring herself he was still there. And Mrs. Patterson said my reading is getting better. That's wonderful. Thompson kissed the top of her head. She smelled like crayons and playground sunshine. Did you play with Hannah at recess? Yeah. We built a fort in the sandbox. Lily twisted to look at him. Daddy, can Hannah come over this weekend? For a playdate? Thompson's chest tightened with joy. 6 weeks ago, Lily had been too withdrawn to make friends. Now she was asking for playdates. Of course she can. We'll call her mom tonight. His mother emerged from her room, the master bedroom that Thompson had insisted she take. She looked healthier now, the gauntness gone from her face, color returned to her cheeks. She'd started attending a grief support group at the local church, processing her loss of Thompson's father with others who understood. Dinner in 30 minutes, she announced. And Thompson, you need to stop working. You promised you'd keep work hours reasonable. I know. Thompson closed the folders. Jennifer, let's pick this up tomorrow morning. 9 o'clock. Perfect. Jennifer gathered her things. Oh, and Thompson. The press is still requesting interviews about the foundation. Particularly about your personal story. Tell them maybe in a few months. Right now, I'm focused on getting the foundation operational and spending time with my family. After Jennifer left, Thompson helped Lily with her homework while his mother prepared dinner. It was a simple routine, almost boring in its ordinariness. But to Thompson, it was precious. These were the moments he'd traded away for years: homework help, dinner preparations, the comfortable quiet of family life. During dinner, chicken and roasted vegetables, Lily was unusually quiet. Everything okay, baby? Thompson asked. She pushed peas around her plate. Some kids at school asked where I used to live. Before I came here. Thompson and his mother exchanged glances. They'd been waiting for this conversation. What did you tell them? Thompson asked gently. I said I lived with Grandma. But then they asked where, and She trailed off. I didn't want to tell them we lived on the street. They'll think I'm weird. Lily, look at me. Thompson waited until she met his eyes. There is nothing weird or shameful about what happened to you and Grandma. You survived something incredibly difficult, and you were brave and strong. Anyone who judges you for that isn't worth your friendship. But they have big houses and nice clothes and they've never been hungry. Lily's voice was small. They don't understand. You're right. They probably don't understand. And that's okay. Thompson reached across the table, taking her hand. But you know what? Your experience makes you stronger. You know what really matters in life. You know how to appreciate what you have. You understand struggle and survival in ways those kids never will. Your daddy's right, his mother added. What happened to us was hard. It's really hard. But it taught us what we're made of. And now, because of what we went through, we're going to help other families going through the same thing. Lily considered this. Is that what the foundation is for? Exactly, Thompson said. We're going to make sure other kids don't have to be hungry or scared or homeless. And you're part of that, Lily. Your story matters. When you're older, if you want to, you can help other kids understand that they're not alone. Really? Really? You're going to do amazing things, baby. I know it. Lily smiled, small at first, then wider. Okay. Maybe I'll tell Hannah about it. She seems nice. I think that's a good idea. After dinner, they settled in the living room for their nightly routine. Thompson read while Lily sprawled across the couch, her head in his lap, her feet in her grandmother's. The book was about a girl who discovered she could talk to animals. Lily hung on every word. When it was time for bed, Thompson carried her to her room. She was getting bigger, heavier, but he cherished these carries, knowing they wouldn't last forever. He tucked her in among her stuffed animals and new blankets. Daddy? Lily's voice was sleepy. Are you happy now? The question caught him off guard. What do you mean? Before, when you lived here alone, were you happy? Or are you happier now that we're here? Thompson sat on the edge of her bed, smoothing her hair. Before, I didn't even know what happiness was. I thought being successful and winning awards and making money was happiness. But it wasn't. It was just busy. Now, with you and Grandma here, this is real happiness. The kind that matters. Good. Lily yawned. Because I'm happy too. Even though I miss Mommy sometimes, I'm happy we're with you. Me too, baby. Me too. After Lily fell asleep, Thompson found his mother on the balcony, looking out at the city lights. She's doing better, his mother observed. Still healing, but better. We all are. Thompson joined her at the railing. Mom, I've been thinking. This penthouse, it's nice, but it's not really a home for a kid. All this glass and marble. Lily needs a yard. A place to run and play. Maybe a dog. His mother smiled. You want to move. I want us to find a real home. Together. Something with character and warmth. A place that feels like family, not a magazine spread. Thompson paused. What do you think? Would you be okay with that? Thompson, I'd live anywhere as long as we're together. But yes, a real home sounds perfect. They stood in comfortable silence, watching the city. Thompson thought about how different his view was now. 6 weeks ago, he'd looked out at these same lights and seen territory to conquer, markets to dominate. Now he saw neighborhoods full of families, each with their own struggles and joys. He saw the community he was now part of, not above. His phone buzzed. A text from Richard, his replacement as CEO. First quarter numbers are strong. The company's doing great. How's life outside the office? Thompson smiled and typed back, better than I ever imagined. Thanks for asking. Another text came through, this one from an unknown number. Mr. Brown, my name is Patricia Holmes. I saw your press conference and read about your foundation. 6 months ago, I lost my job and then my apartment. My 2 kids and I have been living in our car. I saw that your foundation is accepting applications. Is it too late to apply? We need help. Thompson's chest tightened. This was why he'd started the foundation. For people like Patricia, like his own mother had been. He texted back, it's not too late. Call this number tomorrow morning, he included Jennifer's direct line, and tell them you spoke with me. We'll get you and your kids into emergency housing immediately, and then work on a long-term solution. You're not alone anymore. The response came quickly, thank you. You have no idea what this means. But Thompson did know. He knew exactly what it meant, the difference between despair and hope, between giving up and holding on. Another family, his mother asked, watching him text. Yeah. Single mom, 2 kids, living in a car. You're going to help them. We're going to help them, Thompson corrected. This isn't just my foundation, Mom. It's ours. Yours, mine, Lily's. Born from what we went through together. His mother squeezed his hand. Your father always said you had a good heart. That the business world might harden it, but deep down, you'd remember what mattered. I almost forgot completely. But you didn't. When it counted, you remembered. They went back inside, where Thompson made tea while his mother settled on the couch with her knitting. The domestic simplicity of it, making tea, sitting together, no agenda except being present, was still novel to Thompson. But increasingly, it felt natural. I'm looking at houses this weekend, Thompson said, bringing her tea. Jennifer found a few possibilities. Would you come with me? Help me choose. Of course. What kind of house are you looking for? Something with a big kitchen, so you can cook. A yard for Lily to play in. Maybe an office space where I can work on foundation stuff but still be close to you both. Thompson sat beside her. And Mom. I want it to be your house too. Not just a place you're staying. I want your name on the deed. His mother's eyes filled with tears. Thompson. You've given me everything my whole life. Let me give you this. Security. A home that's truly yours. Please. She set down her knitting and hugged him. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Later, after his mother went to bed, Thompson checked on Lily one more time. She was sprawled across her bed, blankets kicked off, stuffed animals scattered around her. He covered her gently, kissed her forehead, and stood there for a moment, just watching her breathe. This was a success. This moment, this peace, this love. Everything else, the billions, the awards, the recognition, was just noise. Thompson turned off the light and headed to his own room, but paused at his mother's door, hearing her soft voice. He realized she was praying. Thank you for bringing my son back to us. Thank you for giving us another chance. Help him heal. Help Lily heal. Help us all become the family we're meant to be. Thompson wiped his eyes and continued to his room. For the first time in longer than he could remember, he fell asleep within minutes, no racing thoughts about deals or strategies or problems to solve. Just peace. Just home. Just right. 3 months after that rainy night discovery, Thompson stood in the driveway of their new home, a sprawling craftsman-style house in the Ballard neighborhood. It had everything they'd wanted: a wraparound porch, a massive backyard with ancient oak trees, a kitchen with enough counter space for his mother to spread out her cooking projects, and bedrooms that felt cozy rather than cavernous. Most importantly, it felt like a home. The moving truck had just departed, leaving boxes stacked throughout the house. Lily ran from room to room, her light-up sneakers flashing with each excited step. Grandma. My room has a window seat. I can read there. I saw, sweetheart. It's perfect for you. Thompson carried another box inside, setting it in the kitchen. Through the window, he could see the yard, overgrown but full of potential. He was already imagining a swing set, maybe a treehouse. A garden where his mother could grow vegetables like she used to. His phone rang. Jennifer. The Family Resource Center is officially open, she said, and he could hear the smile in her voice. We had 15 families come through this morning. Emergency housing placements, job counseling, childcare referrals. Thompson, it's working. It's actually working. That's incredible. Thompson felt warmth spread through his chest. What about Patricia Holmes and her kids? They moved into their apartment yesterday. Patricia starts her new job on Monday. We connected her with one of our partner companies. Her kids are enrolled in school. She cried when I gave her the keys. Thompson had to clear his throat. Good. That's really good. Also, you have 3 interview requests. One from a parenting magazine, one from a business journal about work-life balance, and one from a documentary filmmaker who wants to tell the foundation story. Tell them I'll consider it in a few months. Right now, I'm focused on moving my family into our new home and making sure the foundation's operations are solid. Will do. How's the move going? Chaotic. Perfect. Everything a family move should be. After hanging up, Thompson found his mother in what would be her bedroom, a sunny room on the first floor with French doors opening to the garden. "I'm thinking of cream curtains," she said, standing in the center of the empty space. "And maybe we can paint this wall a soft blue. What do you think?" "I think you should decorate it however it makes you happy." Thompson leaned against the doorframe. "This is your space, Mom. Make it yours." She walked to the French doors, looking out at the garden. "I could plant tomatoes out there. Maybe some herbs. Your father always wanted a garden. Then we'll build you one. The best garden in Seattle." His mother turned to him, her eyes bright with unshed tears. "I keep expecting to wake up. For this to all be a dream." "It's not a dream. It's real. We're really here, really together, really building a life. After everything, I never thought." She couldn't finish the sentence. Thompson crossed the room and pulled her into an embrace. "I know. I never thought I'd find my way back either. But we did. And Mom, I promise you, you will never doubt your security again. You will never worry about where your next meal comes from or where you'll sleep. This is your home, forever." A crash from upstairs interrupted them, followed by Lily's voice, "I'm okay." They both laughed, the tension breaking. "I should check on her," his mother said. "I'll start unpacking the kitchen. Fair warning, I still don't know where half the things go. That's what I'm here for." Over the next several hours, they unpacked, arranged, and rearranged. Neighbors stopped by with casseroles and welcomed us. An elderly couple from next door brought cookies and introduced themselves as George and Martha. "We've lived here 42 years, Martha said, patting Lily's head. "This is a good neighborhood for families. Safe. Friendly. Your daughter will love it here." "I already do," Lily announced, mouth full of cookies. By evening, exhaustion had set in. They ordered pizza. Thompson's attempt at cooking had resulted in a minor kitchen disaster, and ate sitting on the floor of the living room, surrounded by boxes. "This is like camping," Lily said, delighted by the unconventional dinner setup. "Indoor camping," Thompson agreed. "With better pizza." After dinner, they tackled Lily's room together. Thompson assembled her new bed, a process that involved much confusion over the instructions and his mother's patient problem-solving. Lily arranged her stuffed animals, hung posters she'd chosen, and organized her books on the new shelves. "It's perfect," she declared, standing back to admire their work. "Daddy, this is the best room I've ever had." Thompson thought about the rooms she'd had before, the bedroom in Monica's house before her mother left, the temporary spaces in shelters, the corners of alleys where she'd tried to sleep. His throat tightened. "I'm glad you love it, baby. And you know what? Tomorrow we can go pick out some plants for your window seat. Maybe a small terrarium. Really? Can we get one with a fairy garden? Whatever you want. That night, Thompson tucked Lily into her new bed in their new house. Moonlight streamed through the window seat, casting soft shadows on the walls. "Daddy?" Lily's voice was small in the darkness. "Do you think Mommy knows where we are?" Thompson had been waiting for this question. Monica had never tried to contact them, hadn't responded to the messages Thompson's lawyer had left. Wherever she was, whatever new life she'd built, it apparently didn't include her daughter. "I don't know, sweetheart. But I want you to know something important." He sat on the edge of her bed, taking her hand. "Your mommy's choices, leaving, not being here, those aren't about you. You didn't do anything wrong. Sometimes adults make decisions that hurt the people they love, and it's not fair, and it's not right, but it's not the child's fault. Never the child's fault. Do you think she ever thinks about me?" "I'm sure she does. How could she not? You're amazing." Thompson smoothed her hair. "But Lily, even if she does think about you, her absence is her loss. She's missing watching you grow and learn and become this incredible person. That's sad for her, but it doesn't change how valuable and worthy of love you are." Lily was quiet for a moment. "I have you and Grandma now." "You do. And we're not going anywhere. Ever. Promise?" "I promise. You're stuck with us." Lily smiled. "Good. I like being stuck with you." After she fell asleep, Thompson found his mother on the front porch, wrapped in a blanket, watching the street. "First night in the new house," she said as he sat beside her. "It feels surreal." "Good surreal or bad surreal?" "Good. Definitely good." She pulled the blanket tighter. "Thompson, I need to tell you something. I've been wanting to say it for weeks, but the timing never felt right." "What is it?" "I forgive you." His mother turned to look at him directly. "For not being there when your father died. For not returning my calls. For all of it. I forgive you completely, and I need you to forgive yourself." Thompson's eyes burned. "I don't know if I can." "You have to. Carrying that guilt doesn't honor your father's memory or help Lily or make our family stronger. What honors your father is what you're doing now, being present, building something meaningful, choosing family." She took his hand. "Your father's last words to me were about you. He said, Thompson will figure it out. He's got a good heart. He just needs to remember how to listen to it." He said that. His exact words. And he was right. You figured it out. You're listening to your heart now. So let go of the guilt and just be here with us, fully present, fully yourself. Thompson pulled his mother into an embrace, and they sat there on the porch, holding each other while the neighborhood settled into night. Lights flickered on in windows. Dogs barked in distant yards. Life continued its ordinary, beautiful rhythm. Thank you, Mom. For everything. For surviving. For keeping Lily safe. For giving me another chance. We're family, Thompson. That's what we do. The next morning, Thompson woke to the smell of coffee and bacon. He found his mother in the kitchen, already at home among the appliances, cooking breakfast while listening to the radio. "Morning," she said cheerfully. "I figured out the fancy stove. Only set off the smoke alarm once. Progress." Thompson poured coffee. "Where's Lily?" "Still sleeping. She had a big day yesterday." They worked together to finish breakfast, falling into an easy rhythm, Thompson setting the table, his mother cooking, both of them moving around the kitchen like they'd been doing this for years instead of months. Lily appeared eventually, hair wild, still in her pajamas. "Is that bacon?" "It is," Thompson confirmed. "Come eat." They sat at their new kitchen table, solid oak, big enough for family dinners and homework and craft projects, and ate together. Through the window, Thompson could see their backyard, full of possibility. "So," he said, "what should we do today? We could keep unpacking, or we could take a break and explore the neighborhood." "Explore." Lily voted enthusiastically. "I second that," his mother added. "The boxes can wait." So they spent the day walking through Ballard, discovering the local library, the farmer's market, the small park 3 blocks away. Lily made friends with a girl on the playground. His mother chatted with other women at the market, already building community. Thompson watched them, his family, integrating into this neighborhood, claiming space in the world again. They were healing. All of them. That evening, back at home, Thompson's phone buzzed. An email from the Foundation's communications director. "Attached is the impact report from our first quarter. You should see this." Thompson opened the attachment. 47 families were housed. 123 children enrolled in school. 76 adults placed in jobs. Mental health services provided to 214 individuals. Food security programs reaching 300 families. Numbers that represented real people. Real lives have changed. His phone rang. Richard Chen, his replacement as CEO. "Thompson, I'm looking at the Foundation's impact report. This is incredible work." "Thanks, Richard. The team has been amazing. Listen, I wanted to tell you something. When you resigned, I thought you were making a mistake. I thought you were throwing away your legacy." Richard paused. "I was wrong. What you're building now, this foundation, your relationship with your family, this is a real legacy. This matters." Thompson felt emotion swell in his chest. That means a lot, Richard. Brown Tech is doing fine. Great, actually. But what are you doing? That's changing lives in ways technology never could. Richard cleared his throat. Anyway, I just wanted to say that. And to tell you that if the Foundation ever needs Brown Tech's support, resources, technology, partnerships, we're here. I appreciate that. Really. After hanging up, Thompson stood in his new home, listening to the sounds of his family, Lily laughing at something on TV, his mother humming in the kitchen. Outside, the sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. He thought about the man he'd been 6 months ago, isolated, disconnected, chasing achievements that left him empty. That man was gone. In his place was someone simpler, happier, more whole. Someone who understood that the greatest success wasn't measured in stock prices or awards, but in the laughter of a daughter, the contentment of a mother, the peace of a family reunited. Looking back on your own life, what's one thing you wish you'd prioritized sooner? Sometimes our biggest regrets become our greatest teachers. Share your thoughts below. Your story might inspire someone else. Thompson walked into the living room and settled on the couch beside Lily. She immediately curled into his side, her head on his shoulder. "Love you, Daddy," she said absently, eyes on the TV. "Love you too, baby." Chapter 9, The Circle Complete. 1 year after the night that changed everything, Thompson stood in the auditorium of the newly completed Brown Family Resource Center. The building stood in the heart of downtown Seattle, just blocks from where he'd found his mother and daughter searching through that dumpster. The location was intentional, a reminder of how far they'd come, and a beacon for those still struggling. The grand opening ceremony was about to begin. 200 people filled the seats, families the foundation had helped, staff members, board members, community leaders, and journalists. Thompson stood backstage, adjusting his tie nervously. "You ready?" Jennifer appeared beside him, tablet in hand but smiling. She looked different than she had a year ago, more relaxed, more purposeful. "Everyone's waiting. Is my family here?" "Front row, center." "Lily's been waving at everyone who walks by." Thompson smiled. "Of course she has." He peeked through the curtain. There they were, his mother, elegant in a blue dress she'd picked out for the occasion, and Lily, wearing her favorite purple dress with flowers, her hair in pigtails. She was indeed waving enthusiastically at people, her exuberance making nearby attendees smile. Beside them sat Patricia Holmes and her 2 children, the single mother who'd been living in her car when she first contacted Thompson. Patricia now worked as a case manager for the foundation, helping other families navigate the same struggles she'd overcome. Her kids, clean and healthy, sat quietly, so different from the desperate family they'd been a year ago. Throughout the audience, Thompson recognized other faces. Families that had come through the foundation's doors with nothing and were now rebuilding their lives. Each one a story of resilience, of second chances, of hope restored. Helen Rodriguez approached, her expression warm, a far cry from her skepticism at that board meeting a year ago. Thompson, the board wanted me to tell you something before you go on. We were wrong. All of us. We thought you were making the biggest mistake of your career. Instead, you've created something more valuable than Brown Tech ever was. Thank you, Helen. That means a lot. We should have supported you from the beginning. I'm sorry we didn't. You're supporting the foundation now. That's what matters. The lights dimmed. It was time. Thompson walked onto the stage to thunderous applause. The crowd rose to their feet, not because he was a billionaire or former CEO, but because of what he'd built here. Because he'd taken his greatest failure and transformed it into something that mattered. He waited for the applause to die down, then began. A year ago, I stood at a different podium and told you about the night I found my family eating from a dumpster. I told you about my failures as a son, as a father, as a human being. That was the hardest speech I've ever given. This one is the easiest. He paused, letting his eyes sweep across the audience. Because today isn't about my failures. It's about the strength of the human spirit. It's about resilience. It's about the hundreds of families who walked through doors that didn't exist a year ago, who asked for help when asking felt impossible, who chose hope when despair would have been easier. Thompson gestured toward Patricia. Patricia Holmes came to us living in her car with 2 kids. Today, she has an apartment, a job, and stability. But more than that, she has dignity restored. She knows her worth. And now she helps others discover theirs. Patricia wiped tears from her eyes, her children holding her hands. In the past year, the Brown Family Foundation has housed 347 families. We've helped 612 children get back into school. We've connected 423 adults with employment. We've provided mental health services, legal assistance, childcare, job training, and most importantly, we've provided hope. The audience applauded, but Thompson held up his hand. But here's what I need you to understand. This foundation exists because I failed. Because I was so consumed with success that I let the people I loved suffer. My mother and daughter paid the price for my ambition. His voice wavered but held. I can't undo that. I can't get back the years I lost with my father, the months my mother spent in poverty, the childhood trauma my daughter endured. But I can make sure their suffering wasn't meaningless. I can make sure other families don't fall through the cracks the way mine did. Thompson looked directly at his mother and Lily in the front row. Mom, Lily, you saved me that night. Not the other way around. You gave me a reason to be better, to do better. Everything good that's happened since, this foundation, these families we've helped, the life we've built together, it's because you refused to give up on me even when I'd given up on you. Thank you for that. for believing I could change, for giving me another chance. Lily was crying now, and his mother held her close. Thompson had to pause, composing himself. This building represents a promise. A promise that no senior citizen will be forced to choose between medicine and food. That no child will go to bed hungry. That no family will be invisible. We see you. We value you. And we will not let you fall. He gestured toward the building around them. This resource center is just the beginning. We're opening 2 more locations next year, one in Portland, one in San Francisco. We're partnering with other foundations and nonprofits across the country. We're training other communities to replicate this model. Because this problem, families falling through the cracks, it's not just a Seattle problem. It's everywhere. But we can't do this alone. We need volunteers, advocates, donors, voices. We need people who care enough to act. So I'm asking you, each of you, to look around your own communities. Who's invisible? Who's struggling in silence? Who needs someone to see them? Thompson's voice grew stronger. A year ago, I drove past suffering every single day and never saw it. I was too busy, too important, too focused on my own goals. Don't make my mistake. Open your eyes. See people. Really see them. Because that single mother working 3 jobs. She's someone's daughter. That elderly man sleeping under the bridge. He's someone's father. That child wearing the same clothes every day. She's someone's treasure. The audience was silent, hanging on every word. My daughter Lily has taught me something profound this year. She's taught me that healing isn't linear. Some days, she's anxious and scared. Other days, she's confident and joyful. But every day, she shows up. She tries. She believes that tomorrow can be better than yesterday. That's what resilience looks like. Thompson smiled at Lily, who was wiping her eyes but smiling back. So today, we open this center not just as a building, but as a symbol. A symbol that it's never too late to change. Never too late to prioritize what matters. Never too late to build something meaningful. He paused, then delivered his closing words with quiet intensity. I was a billionaire who had nothing. Now I have everything. Not because of money or success or recognition. But because I have my family. I have purpose. I have the opportunity to take my greatest shame and transform it into something that helps others. If you take nothing else from today, take this: the greatest fortune you can have is knowing what truly matters and having the courage to choose it. Every single day. Even when it's hard. Even when the world tells you you're wrong. Choose what matters. Choose family. Choose compassion. Choose to see the invisible. Choose to help the forgotten. Because in the end, We're not measured by what we built or earned or achieved. We're measured by who we loved, who we helped, and who we showed up for when it mattered most. Thompson's voice broke slightly. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for supporting this foundation. And thank you for believing that we can build a world where no family is forgotten. The auditorium erupted in applause. People rose to their feet, clapping, crying, embracing each other. Thompson stepped off the stage and went directly to his family. Lily launched herself into his arms. That was beautiful, Daddy. You inspired every word of it, baby. His mother embraced them both. Your father is so proud right now. I can feel it. I hope so. They were interrupted by Patricia, who approached with her children. Mr. Brown, Thompson, I wanted to say thank you. Not just for the apartment or the job. Thank you for seeing us. For treating us like we mattered. You do matter. You always did. Patricia's children, shy but smiling, handed Lily a drawing they'd made, 3 stick figures holding hands under a rainbow. We made this for you, the older one said. Because you're our friend. Lily clutched the drawing like treasure. Thank you. I love it. The rest of the afternoon was a blur of ribbon cuttings, tours, conversations with families and donors and community leaders. But Thompson made sure to keep his family close, holding Lily's hand, checking on his mother, ensuring they were part of every moment. As the event wound down and guests began to leave, Thompson found himself alone in the main lobby of the Resource Center. Floor-to-ceiling windows let in the late afternoon light. On one wall, a bronze plaque read, "In memory of James Brown," whose pride in his son's potential inspired everything that came after. Thompson touched the plaque, feeling the engraved letters of his father's name. I wish you could see this, Dad, he whispered. I wish I'd figured it out before you died. I'm so sorry I wasn't there. He sees it. His mother's voice came from behind him. She'd been watching from the doorway. And he forgives you. You need to forgive yourself now, Thompson. Completely. I'm trying. Try harder. She joined him at the plaque. Your father spent his whole life working in factories, providing for us but never rich, never famous. He used to worry that he hadn't left a big enough mark on the world. But look at what you've built in his name. Look at the families who'll be helped because of this foundation named after our family. That's his legacy too. You gave him that. Thompson pulled his mother close. I love you, Mom. I love you too, son. More than you'll ever know. Lily appeared, tugging on Thompson's sleeve. Daddy, can we go home now? I want to show Grandma the drawing Patricia's kids made, and I'm hungry, and tomorrow is Saturday, so can we make pancakes? Thompson laughed, lifting her up. Yes to all of that. Let's go home. Home. The word had transformed completely in meaning. Home wasn't the penthouse he'd once lived in, isolated and empty. Home was the Craftsman house in Ballard, with its creaky floors and overgrown garden and rooms filled with laughter. Home was wherever his family was. They drove home together, Lily chattering about the ceremony, his mother adding commentary, Thompson listening to both with complete attention. No phone calls to take. No emails demanding responses. Just presence. Just family. That evening, they sat in their backyard. Thompson had finally built his mother the garden she wanted, and now, in late spring, it was bursting with tomatoes, herbs, and flowers. They ate dinner outside, simple pasta that his mother had taught Thompson to make, and watched the sun set behind the oak trees. "Daddy?" Lily asked, twirling spaghetti on her fork. "Do you ever miss being a CEO?" Thompson considered the question honestly. "Sometimes I miss the excitement of building something new. But then I look at you and Grandma, and I remember what I was missing when I was CEO. This. Right here. This is better than any boardroom ordeal or achievement. This is what success actually looks like." "Good," Lily said matter-of-factly. "Because I like having you home." "Me too, baby. Me too." After dinner, they did what they did every evening. Thompson read to Lily while his mother cleaned up, then they all watched a movie together, Lily between them on the couch, her head on Thompson's shoulder, her feet in her grandmother's lap. When Lily fell asleep halfway through the movie, Thompson carried her to bed. He tucked her in, surrounded by her stuffed animals and the drawings covering her walls, and stood there for a moment, watching her breathe. This child had survived so much. Abandonment, poverty, fear, trauma. But she was healing. Learning to trust again. Learning that love could be steady and reliable. Learning that she was worthy of care and attention. And in healing her, Thompson was healing himself. He returned to the living room to find his mother at the window, looking out at their garden. "Thinking about Dad?" he asked. "Always. But also thinking about how far we've come. A year ago, we were searching through dumpsters. Tonight, we opened a resource center that will help thousands of families. It's almost impossible to comprehend. You're the strongest person I know, Mom. You kept Lily safe. You survived. You never gave up. Neither did you. When it mattered most, when you saw us that night, you didn't look away. You didn't write a check and move on. You changed your entire life. That takes courage, Thompson." They stood together at the window, looking out at the garden that had once been wild and was now cultivated with care, a metaphor for their family, Thompson thought. They'd all been wild with pain and separation, but they were growing together now, tended with attention and love. "I'm proud of you," his mother said quietly. "Your father would be too. Thank you, Mom. For everything. For not giving up on me even when I gave you every reason to. You're my son. I could never give up on you. That night, Thompson lay in bed in their house, listening to the sounds of his family breathing in nearby rooms. So different from the penthouse, where silence had been absolute and isolating. These sounds, his mother's gentle snoring, Lily's occasional sleep-talking, the house settling around them, were the sounds of home. His phone sat on the nightstand, powered but silent. No urgent emails. No crisis requiring immediate attention. Just peace. Thompson thought about the journey of the past year. The shame of that discovery. The grief of realizing what he'd lost. The hard work of rebuilding trust and family bonds. The purpose found in helping others avoid his mistakes. It hadn't been easy. There were days when Lily's trauma manifested in panic attacks or nightmares. Days when his mother grieved so deeply for his father that she couldn't get out of bed. Days when Thompson doubted whether he could truly change, whether he deserved this second chance. But they'd shown up for each other. Every single day. And slowly, painfully, beautifully, they'd healed. Thompson's last thought before sleep was simple: thank you. Thank you for that rainy night. Thank you for taking the long way home. Thank you for seeing them before it was too late. Thank you for the chance to be better. Morning came bright and early, heralded by Lily jumping on his bed. Daddy! You promised pancakes. Thompson groaned playfully. What time is it? 7. That's practically lunchtime. 7 is definitely not lunchtime, baby. Please. You promised. All right, all right. Go wake up Grandma. Gently. Lily scampered off, and Thompson heard her knock on his mother's door, her voice bright: Grandma. Pancake time. Thompson smiled, threw back the covers, and headed to the kitchen. His life now revolved around pancakes and bedtime stories, school pickups and garden projects, foundation work and family dinners. And it was perfect. An hour later, they sat around the kitchen table, plates piled with slightly misshapen pancakes. Thompson was still learning, and syrup everywhere. Lily told them about a dream she'd had about flying. His mother discussed plans for expanding the garden. Thompson mentioned an interview request he'd finally accepted, for a documentary about the foundation. Ordinary conversation. Ordinary morning. Extraordinary grace. After breakfast, while his mother and Lily worked on a craft project, Thompson stepped outside to call Jennifer. Morning, she answered. How are you feeling after yesterday? Good. Really good. The center is everything we hoped it would be. Better. We've already had 3 families reach out this morning asking for help. Word is spreading. Jennifer paused. Thompson, I wanted to thank you for giving me the chance to work on something that matters. My whole career, I was just managing someone else's calendar, putting out fires, protecting time. Now I'm helping build something real. You were always building something real, Jennifer. I just didn't appreciate it. But thank you for taking this leap with me. The foundation wouldn't exist without you. We make a good team. Same time Monday for our planning session. I'll be there. Thompson hung up and stood in his garden, breathing in the morning air. The scent of tomatoes and herbs, freshly cut grass from a neighbor's yard, coffee from inside the house. The sounds of his family, Lily's laughter, his mother's patient instructions. This was a legacy. This was the purpose. This was home. A year ago, Thompson Brown had been a billionaire with nothing. Today, he was a father, a son, a philanthropist who'd learned what truly mattered. And he would never, ever forget it again. Inside, Lily called out, "Daddy! Come see what we made." Thompson smiled, pocketed his phone, and went to see what treasure his daughter had created. Because that's what you did when you had everything that mattered. You showed up. You paid attention. You loved it completely. Every single day. Without fail. The end. As you finish this story, I want to ask you something important. Who in your life needs to know they matter to you? Thompson almost lost everything before he realized what he had. Don't wait for a crisis to tell the people you love that they're your priority. Comment below with one person you're going to reach out to today. Sometimes sharing our intentions makes us more likely to follow through. Let this story be the reminder you needed. If you have learned something great from this story, then do well to subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories.